Now, the National League MVP, well, I'm not going to talk about this because I'm voting, and I don't think you should be telling everyone who you're going to vote for because that takes away from the drama of the middle of November when the announcement is made. Am I wrong about this?
Dave, can I tell you something? Tim hasn't told me who he's voting for. He's voting for Shohei Ohtani.
We know, right?
Yeah.
There's one guy who's ever won 2 unanimous MVPs, and I think he's going to win number 3 unanimously.
All right, so I
Don't say it, Tim. You got to
Don't
keep
say it.
it.
We're not saying it. I'm just telling Dave he's voting for
Is there
Ohtani because
any
he's such a
chance-
great offensive player and he's such a great pitcher.
All right, 54 homers for Kyle Schwarber.
Yep.
Unquestioned leader, maybe the best leader in baseball on the second best team in the major leagues. Does anybody vote for Kyle Schwarber? It's okay to say no.
Yeah,
No.
you know, in some years, yes, but when it's 2 guys who are DHs and Ohtani's numbers are just a little better and he pitched, I don't see how you can vote for Schwarber, as important as he was to the Phillies.
Well, and we know, too, I mean, Kyle is a great teammate. He's a leader of that franchise. There's an argument to be made that right now the Phillies are the best team coming out of the regular season in baseball. He might get a sprinkling of votes, 1 or 2 first-place votes, but I mean, Ohtani's going to win overwhelmingly.
So a guy
In part because of Tim's support.
yes.
guy with the Dodgers told me, he just shook his head and he goes, I can't believe how good this guy is. He says every day he comes to the clubhouse, he is there to be the greatest player that we've ever seen, meaning his preparation, that every day he shows up, he's designed to be the best I can possibly be today. Let's face it, there are other guys who show up and maybe they're not ready to be the best player on the field today. This guy is always ready, and that is his secret. Does that sound right?
Yeah, look, as a kid, we grew up, you're reading about Babe Ruth and Ty Cobb and Lou Gehrig and Ted Williams, and you wondered, what was it like to watch those guys play? We've been able to watch a guy who's, in my opinion, better than those guys. As you said, Buster, he's the greatest baseball player ever.
And it's not even close. And you love to hear the stories about his devotion to the game. He's not a superstar who's distracted by doing this or doing that. Everybody who plays with him says that he cares about baseball more than any. He just, as you said, shows up early every day, does his work, gets prepared. It's why he's earned the right to tell the Dodgers what he wants to do on a given day.
I read a lead about a month ago, 3 weeks ago, whatever. Shohei Ohtani pitched 5 no-hit innings in a game in which he hit his 50th home. Just think about those 2 sentences going together. No one's ever had those 2 sentences put together quite like him. And there were a lot of high performances this season. So we have to get to the MVP race in the American League. All right, look, I've been voting on these things for 45 years. And there's some years, George Brett against Don Mattingly in 1985, where you just say, I can't get this right because both of them are the MVPs. What are we going to do with the MVP in the American League this year? Buster, you start.
So I think that there are a lot of players who actually would support Cal Raleigh's candidacy because they know how difficult it is to catch. They know his impact as a catcher. The Mariners with a successful year, the 60 home runs, and I think Aaron Judge is going to win the award. I think his preeminence offensively is going to wind up being decisive in this. His OPS almost 200 points higher than Cal Raleigh. As great as Cal Raleigh has been, it takes an all-time great performance to beat him, and that's what we got out of Aaron Judge.
Yeah, look at those OPS numbers, almost 200 points higher. Tim, you're going to love this stat. You know how many guys have hit 330 with 53 home runs in a year?
None.
Babe Ruth,
Right.
Hack Wilson, and Jimmy Fox,
Right.
and now Aaron Judge. Those guys from the 1920s and 30s.
Right.
Historic year again for Aaron Judge.
Highest batting average ever for somebody during a.
Who are you picking?
I'm picking Aaron. Look, there are years where there are 2 MVPs. Okay, I got screamed at when I picked Miguel Cabrera, voted for Miguel Cabrera as the MVP of the league when he won the Triple Crown and took his team to the playoffs, and I didn't vote for Mike Trout. I got killed. If anyone kills you for voting for Aaron Judge, they should be thrown out of the baseball writers, and vice versa.
Right.
There is no wrong answer here, but I'm voting for this guy because of the exact numbers. He's slugging 100 points higher than Cal Raleigh is. And we talk about, I mean, Cal Raleigh is so, his season has been more remarkable.
Yeah.
It's been more amazing. It's been more historic. But this guy's numbers are overwhelming. And the Yankees remember the trouble they were in with 3 weeks to go in the season. And who carried them into the playoffs? That guy carried them.
Yeah, he was fantastic down the stretch. I really felt that going into September, this award was sort of up for grabs, and Aaron Judge had a better September.
So how, for people who say Cal Raleigh had maybe the greatest season ever by a catcher, although Johnny Bench at 72, Piazza 97, those were pretty spectacular years. For those who say it has to be an elite defensive catcher who plays the hardest position on the field, how do we explain that?
Yeah, look, he is the leader of that team. He's kind of a quiet, unassuming guy, but he played 159 games. Yes, he DH'd a lot, but their record when he started at catcher was way better than when Mitch Garver started. So you got to, give Raleigh a little credit for handling the pitching staff. He won the Gold Glove the Platinum Glove is the best defender in the AL. Unbelievable year. We're going to remember it forever. But it was just the wrong year to have that kind of season.
And just to be clear, the writers have to turn in their votes in the next 24 hours, right?
I will be doing mine tonight. I'm
Right.
voting on the National League MVP.
So the postseason doesn't matter at all.
Right. Nor should it, because if you're on a bad team, you should not be punished because you played on a bad team. So I think that's the right way to do it. Okay, back to the AL East now. The Yankees did not win the division, but they finished the season with 8 consecutive wins. They have 5 guys with 25 or more homers. They lead the major leagues in runs scored. And seems to me, Buster, they've cleaned up their rotation a bit, and their bullpen is better. How dangerous are the Yankees heading into October?
It is a better team than the team that played in the World Series last year in terms of how they're playing and the balance of their lineup. And look, the biggest question going into September was, will that bullpen ever come together? Well, it got really hot, and yes, they played a lot of bad teams down the stretch. They feasted on them. But to have Devin Williams throwing the way that he is right now, that's the most important factor, I think, for this team.
Yeah, I wrote down 2 keys, and Devin Williams is one of those. The last 17 innings, 34 strikeouts, 6 walks. The season ERA doesn't look good, but he's looking like the old Devin Williams finally. And obviously, Aaron Judge, 169 average his last 3 postseasons. I think he's due for a monster October.
Right, and David Bednar has been very good out of their bullpen also. And Cam Schlittler is suddenly a number 3 starter. I watched his start the other day. That stuff is filthy.
It's great.
And he throws 100 miles an hour. They've gone from who's starting Game 3 to a guy that they want to start Game 3.
Yeah, I was going to say, how have things sorry to interrupt, but how have things changed? It's Red Sox Yankees, and we haven't even mentioned the Red Sox yet. 20 years ago, we would have spent 8 hours just on this series, so this is going to be a lot of fun.
So, Buster, Red Sox, Yankees, maybe the star power isn't there like 2003 and 2004 when we covered all those games. Amazing games, amazing teams, but it's still the Red Sox and the Yankees. It still matters.
Yeah, and there's going to be so much emotion. The Red Sox really beat up on the Yankees during the regular season, right? And they get Garrett Crochet, and that's the biggest challenge for the Yankees. Can they win a 3-game series when the guy going number 1 for the other team is one of the best pitchers on the planet? Brian Bale, the last time he pitched in Yankee Stadium, he was terrific. But I tell you what, the Yankees, they do have the rotation depth between Fried and between Rodon, who's had a terrific year, and Luis Gil has been excellent in recent weeks. I think the Yankees are in a good position as they go into this series.
Our dear friend Eduardo Perez said Crochet, not Skubal, is the Cy Young winner this year. You agree with that?
I give it to Skubal, but it's close. And I know that the vote probably won't be, but it's pretty close to a coin flip. And if you want to give Crochet some extra credit for pitching in the tougher division, better offenses, I can see it's a fair argument. Absolutely.
Right.